We are back with yet another exciting guest, none other than triathlon superstar and YouTube phenomenon, Daniel Bækkegård. Daniel, I know for a fact that you are ready to fly to first race of the season in Texas. So are you ready for that one?
Oh, most definitely. It'll be nice to get back on the start line and just get some racing starting again. That's what we train for. So I can't wait.
Let's go back to Kona. As far as I recall, you actually finished the race, but you were in very poor conditions, and you ended up having surgery. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't end up having surgery, but yeah. So basically, the whole last year, I had quite big problems with my back. So it was like every time I sat on the TT bike, I couldn't really push, and that made it kind of difficult to do specific sessions on the TT, and that also ended up in being a problem when I was running and when I did tumble turns in swimming. So basically, all sessions I did last year, it ended up being kind of a hell because everything just hurt. And I signed up for the T100, and it wasn't really fun to race the best guys in the world when you have problems with your back and you're not able to do the kind of simple training sessions you want to do. But yeah, it is how it is. Like, got through it, and Kona was nothing. Yeah, I was there. I think that was how you can put it. Finished the race, and then it was just about like finding out what was really going on. We did that, changed a bit of surroundings, because I also, I ask myself the questions of like, now I live in St. Moritz, and it's like the best place in the world for endurance sport. And, I have all these possibilities and opportunities, so how can I get the most out of it? And that also ended up being switching kind of coach and daily training surroundings. So it's a whole new start this year, and I'm also very excited to not only for Texas, but I think more like the next coming years, how the development can impact my races.
Exactly, and I want to talk a lot more about your new coach and what's going on there. But I recall that you said something in one of your YouTube videos about that you didn't actually quite felt like an athlete for a year or 2 years even. So does that mean that even in your T100 race in London, where you ended up on the podium, that you were in pain there, and you have maybe actually gotten so used to be in pain that you didn't want to accept that you actually were carrying an injury for quite some time?
Yeah, I didn't want to cry about it, so it was just about getting racing done, and
Yeah, nobody likes a crybaby, right?
yeah, exactly. So that's just how it is, and it's my problem. I have to deal with it. It's not everybody else's problem. So yeah, you can say it would probably have been a better idea to take the year out and just getting stuff sorted, but I was not really prepared to do that with. That whole T100 movement, I wanted to be a part of that as well, and I've been pretty big advocate for the kind of racing they've put on, and yeah, then it just becomes kind of a new norm when you walk around with an injury like that. So yeah, there's not a lot to say about it. It is how it is, and everybody goes through tough times, and that was just the tough time I had to go through.
So this injury, is that could you handle that with physiotherapy, or was it extra core training. What have you done to handle this situation?
Yeah, so the problem was there was some experts. That's a problem in the sport of triathlon, but also in the profession of being a physio. I think I know for a fact there's some physios and coaches in triathlon who uses AI to do schedules, training schedules, and also find out what's wrong. So I think I probably ran into the wrong one and the wrong physio, and he told me to do like very heavy lifting because it was a muscular problem. Turned out that was not really good for my back either. So I think that also made it a bit worse. But then afterwards, when I got some real experts who actually know what they're talking about, I started doing basically just a lot of mobility, a lot of just the right stuff. That was actually, it is like when you know what's exactly wrong with your body, then it's easier to know what kind of experts you have to see, and yeah. So now it's just a lot of work off the bike as well.
Fantastic! It's really, really great to hear that you feel like you are 100% once more.
I wouldn't say that because it's still like it is still a structural problem. It's not really. It's not just something that goes away, but I think that's also that's what you learn. That it can be a problem and it can be something you can work with. And now it's something we can work with, and we can also see like development already now. So that's a good thing.
But talking about trust issues with physiotherapy and coaches and stuff like that, you are a guy who, if you find something that works for you, you stick to that. And you've been with Casper, your former coach, for almost a decade. So I guess it must have been super difficult for you to get used to another system. Talk about that situation, that shift a little bit.
Casper is still a coach, so there's not a lot changed there. I think for both of us, it's like the thing I really like about Casper is the fact that it's he's doing it basically only out of his wish to make me better, and not because he want to be a big triathlon coach or earn a shit ton of money out of it or build a business or whatever. And I think that also takes that whole ego part out of it. So it's like it's all based on my feedback and our conversations and stuff, and that's what I love about it. So that's also why I'm pretty sure if I didn't have the stuff with my back, I would like. I wouldn't see any problems in staying with Casper, but it's just difficult when I'm living in another country and we don't have that much time to see each other, and that's it's also where you really find out each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I think Casper's absolute biggest strength is that one-on-one communication, where he is in my eyes one of the best coaches in the world, because he's so good at like communicating and also teaching, and I could also feel that was what I needed in my daily life. So that's that part of going to the pool and just giving a high five to a coach or a guy who can see like on track sessions or easy long runs or whatever, that small stuff we have to perfect or change a little bit. And that whole thing of like your facial expression when you come to the pool after a big block of training, and okay, how is he actually feeling? One thing is what you say in on the phone, another thing is what's written in your face. And that whole thing that Casper was really good at. Unfortunately, Casper doesn't live in St. Moritz.
No,
so,
that's true. But did Casper actually help you finding Philip Seip, who's your new coach, or was that something you had to figure out yourself?
I think during I've trained quite a lot with Philip, and I've known him for years because I was hanging around with Florian Angert quite a lot, and he was coached by Philip, and then also he's up here, have an apartment up here, so it's like through the last couple of years I've gotten to know him pretty well, and then when Casper and I were discussing it, if it was time to find something else, we were discussing different opportunities, and then obviously Philip came up, and Casper and Philip have also a good relationship, so we thought that was kind of the best scenario. And then Laura went ahead and won the World Championships, so that was also kind of I think everybody who knows Laura and knows Philip a little bit, it was not really a surprise to us, but it's kind of the last kind of star he needed in the book, that his drive and search for high performance is really paying off, and he's on the right track in terms of being a coach.
For a while there, as you talked about, he had a small squad, and then he just for 1 or 2 years completely focused on Laura, and it paid off massively with her world title in Nice. And now he's coaching you as well, and also another world champion, a young shooting star, Rico. You are a little squad training there. I've been following you guys on Instagram, but I'm not quite sure if you're training together on a daily basis, or it's more like Philip is very much adjusting lactate and training zones, intensity, and stuff like that. So are you actually training quite a lot together? What you the three of you?
No, not really, because like we obviously when Laura and Philip is up here, then we're doing sessions together, and we've done swim sessions. Obviously, it's been winter season up here, so we've not ridden outside that much. So I've been stuck on Swift and the treadmill. So it's not that much, but it's been one session a day pretty much. So we meet up in the pool, or we do a cross country session together, or I go out for schema with Philip or whatever. So it's like it's a kind of way I also like it, because I also know Philip, he have tons of jobs on the side, and he can't be around at every session, and I think I would also go crazy if I had a coach looking at me 24/7. So it's a really good mix of like he's there when it counts and when it matters. And then obviously we're also adults, so we can do stuff on our own. But then again, with Laura, it's cool to train with her, because she's just eager to. She's so freaking motivated, you wouldn't believe it, and sometimes it also scares me a little bit.
So I have maybe what people say about Germans, that they have no humor. Of course, I don't believe that actually to be true.
I will say though, I've just been on a training camp with the squad and other Germans in Mallorca, and Philip and Laura, they are definitely not your usual type of Germans when it comes to humor, and that's it's a good group to be a part of.
Okay, so actually, I don't know if people have followed you on YouTube. I'm sure most of the people who see this interview know your YouTube channel, that you used to joke a lot and take the piss out of yourself and people around you. But I believe that when you train, you are also 100% game face. So you know when to have fun and when to be dead serious, and maybe that's also the dynamics that the three of you have together. I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the only part where it can be difficult, and when you get a coach and is a part of a group that is from another country, there's obviously a lot of cultural differences, and one of them is definitely sarcasm. Laura and Philip, they understand sarcasm, but maybe not on my level sometimes. And
are you also very advanced?
Yeah, but I think it all comes down to communication, and it's something I've been really bad at and still struggles a bit with. So, it's like a growth kind of thing where I I maybe need to be a bit better in knowing when to put out different comments and also communicate in a way that is appropriate for the setting. But it's a weakness right now, so yeah.
For you, what about Rico then? Because he's maybe not the most outspoken guy. Broke massively into everybody's awareness with his world title in Finland a couple of years ago. So is he a guy that inspires you? Can you talk a little bit about your impression of him?
Yeah, he's typical German, I think.
Hard worker.
He's a hard worker, but he's also he's really friendly and a really kind guy. And I think the only barrier is actually the English language, and I can 100% understand that, because when I was in his age, it was my struggle as well. So it's like I think sometimes he's a bit more quiet, but it's only a part of the language barrier. Yeah, 100%. He's a fucking monster on the bike, and you saw that in the T100. I think he have the possibilities to win that shit. So I think there's for me especially, it's a like benchmark in like what I have to do on the bike to be one of the best, and that's just motivating.
At least on camera, he looks super muscular. I know, old swimmer, kind of the way he's built, but still super fast. You'll always say that it's the lean guys who moves fast, but sometimes people can trick you.
Yeah, I think you also see a movement now where when it comes down to the bike, it's also the big guys who are pushing a lot of watts, and he's definitely in that group. So I think for that sake, it is with everything else. Like, it's a process of getting run speed and be. You can see already last year he gained a lot of consistency when it comes to like finishing off the runs with like not bunking completely. So I think Singapore is not really a race you can like base anything out of, because it's such a fucked race and complete shit show to actually have a race there. Like, it's not really capabilities, and I know what he showed in Mallorca, and that's definitely better than what was on the run in Singapore. So it's the season is early, and I think we're going to see a lot of good things from him.
Can we talk about your new love for alternative training? Could maybe be cross-country skiing. I don't know how to pronounce it. Do you call it mountaineering when you go uphill?
Yeah, ski mountaineering. I think
ski mountaineering.
I'm actually not 100% sure.
So if we compare it to something in Denmark, for instance, we could say that you like to hike, for instance, and if you were professional athletes, cyclists, runner, you would say that's a waste of time. That's not something that a professional will do when you're not training, to go out and use unnecessary energy. But what I've heard from your videos, you actually found that it's beneficial mentally as well as physical. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing of being coached by Philip. Like, he's very he puts that, like, the alternative training into the program as well. And with my issues in the back, it's not something that's going to be fixed. I realized that very quickly. It's not something that's going to be fixed in like a month or two. It's probably going to take a year of hard work to get back into full fitness. But how can we? Like, I can't sit on the turbo for more than 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week. So how can we make like do other stuff on the side that can kind of be a replica and be very easy on the back and still work a lot on the core stability and all that stuff I have to work on. Skimo and cross country was like the perfect substitute for to just do. In the beginning, it was just to do like easy endurance sessions. Yeah, that's been a big part of my daily life, and it's amazing. Like it's really nice to at least spend one session outside in winter, and then like it's the surroundings, the nature here is beyond words. So to enjoy it while your heart rate is through the roof, that's quite nice as well.
Because of the altitude, or just because it's so freaking hard to go uphill?
I think I'm the usual route I take. It's like almost 2,000 meters of climbing, and then it's in altitude as well. So it's like it is a pretty big hike, and it's really hard. So I think it's just like fitness is fitness, and if that comes from cross country or skimo or running and cycling, that doesn't really matter because it's kind of the same muscle groups you also use.
Yeah. I believe you also mentioned something about the joy parts of doing stuff like that, to actually allow yourself to not be a professional athlete 24/7 is also a new approach for you that you really have picked up after your move to Switzerland. Can you talk about that a little bit? Maybe a little bit more relaxed approach to being a professional athlete?
Mm, nah, I'm not really sure it changed that much, but I think in general the standard of living is just really high here. So it's nice to go out and have dinner or whatever it is, because it's just life. Like I don't think that's more being a professional athlete than everything else. To actually, just have fun and enjoy the place you are in life. And I think that's a good thing. Like my girlfriend and I are really have similar interest in terms of being outside active and do sports, but also spend money on good food and coffee and stuff like that. So it's just about we're just living life and doing what we like on a weekly basis. And obviously, in the meantime, there's also a lot of hard work. But that's if you have to put in the hard work, you also need that kind of enjoyment on the other side of the spectrum, and then we're just good at finding those.
Exactly. In your latest video, you also introduce your very nice pain cave, including a tiny but very fancy sauna. Did you actually always train primarily on turbo and treadmill, or is that something you have switched more to here in St. Moritz, with only like one long outside ride during the week and maybe a casual run mixed up with some cross country skiing?
Living in Denmark, the weather's like freaking terrible for 4 months of the year. So it's actually been the opposite. I've spent more time outside in some Moritz than I've done in when I lived in Denmark. So here it's my setup has just gotten better, and I have room for pain cave where I have everything I need, and that includes the clear light as well, because it's a good way of. Obviously, I love the sauna, and it's nice when to do as an additional kind of session, to the run and bike, but also when you come down from a big day of cross country or whatever it is, skimo, then it's nice to also jump in the sauna for a bit and just chill.
Can you enlighten maybe the viewers here a little bit, because I'm not quite sure if that's most professionals that actually prefer like to have the turbo to just be super effective, jump straight onto the treadmill. Some people have that impression that professionals, they are outdoor training all day and all night, but is it very normal that you do maybe 80% of your training indoor?
I think there's a reason why most people live in like Girona or warm places like that, and that is to avoid going on the turbo and on the treadmill. So I know most people are not really spending much time indoors. Yeah, sometimes. I think if you see I would any day choose to spend time outside, and I also do that. But you know, for me, it's also been coming back from injury. It's nice to have that kind of like Philip can put in the training sessions I have to do, so I hit the clear wattage and not overdoing anything, not underdoing anything. So it's a way of just keeping stuff going and be pretty clear on the kind of zones you have to hit, because everything is about stimulus. And if I go outside and override, or if I do, I don't know, overdo climbs or whatever, it can be a problem with my back the next day, and that will affect in every other session. And up here, it's also a case of like you burn, and your need for calories and especially sugar is like way higher. So it's about learning to kind of be as consistent as possible, and that's just been a good way of being consistent. But when we hit like after Texas, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time indoors. That's for sure.
Because, but actually, in fact, I don't know. Is it? Do you live permanently in St. Moritz, or is it just during winter? Do you have another place that you and your girlfriend stay?
Now we live here full time, so both summer and winter, and that was a decision because I don't really like. I've traveled quite a lot the last couple of years, and I would like to have a place where I don't have to go on training camps and I don't have to do unnecessary travels. So yeah, that was why I got this place, and I think we don't really have any plans in moving any other place just now. We have a spot down in Zurich with my dad, and in Italy with Philippa's family.
And you talked a little bit about your back that's been an issue, but also some changes done with your bike setup, and of course you have to balance aerodynamics with the most comfortable position. So what have you and your team done to make you as fast but still as comfortable as possible?
Again, that takes into like bringing in experts in the area and spend some time with Lassie, but in Germany down in Roth, and he's like an all-out geek when it comes to position and bike fitting. So that was like the major part. Like the fastest position is the one you can hold for 90 and 180k while still pushing the pedals the last hour. So that's what been our biggest concern. And now I've just worked a lot in that position, and it seems to be pretty fast as well. Went in the wind tunnel, and it's not like, I'd say it's not as fast when you only like purely look at aerodynamics as my former position, but I feel stronger and I can push more watts, not only in short bursts, but especially in longer TTs. So I'm really satisfied about the work, and it's like a continuous process of tingling with equipment and with position and all that stuff. So I think that it's one of those areas I've really found joy in the last couple of months, and like thinking and looking for solutions and how we can make the position better, more powerful, more aerodynamic, and so on.
So we are looking ahead at one of the biggest pro fields like forever in Texas, in the top 10 from Kona last year. There's 7 guys on the start list. We have 3 Norwegians. We have a lot of local fast guys there. Back in the days, you've actually done quite well in flat and fast courses with big pro fields. Can we talk a little bit about how a race like that might fold out and how you can play this into your strengths?
I think actually last year in Roth, Jesper from who is the athlete manager from Fusion, he was he did an interview and provoked me a little bit because like he said you kind of come away from your DNA of attacking from the front and
Yeah.
been riding more conservatively for the last couple of years, and I think that's more down to my body actually being able to hold up. So that's definitely something I wish to come back to, and
Yeah.
also what I think is the most fun to do on the race course. So like definitely there are tons of different scenarios that can play out, and it really much comes down to who's actually there on the start list. Yeah, it's so like there's so many things that can happen. You saw it in Oceanside where all of a sudden there are like what was it, 20 guys in the front pack or whatever, and they can also be a smaller front pack of like 5 guys, as I see it, who can come out of the water and ride in the front. So what is it, 65 guys? It's insane for a full Ironman. Yeah, so I can't wait to get going, and I think it's one of those where it is like the classics where you have no freaking clue how it's gonna end up and how the race is gonna be, but at the end it's probably down to a handful of guys who can fight it out for the podium, and obviously I hope to be a part of those. But realistically, I also know that's as like as my process is at the moment, it would also be a dream scenario. And
Exactly.
obviously, we are working for dreams, but it's also I have to be patient.
You did super well in Tulsa a couple of years ago. So how is that race? I'm also thinking a little bit about climate. That race compared to what we see in Texas, super humid as well.
Yeah, I think it showed that if you ride in the front group, if you ride smart and if you also push it, it's difficult for the quote unquote Uberbikers to come back. Um, and Tulsa, that was like you needed balls to do well in that race on the bike. And I think it's going to be the same in Texas as well. So I'm not really sure about the climate because it was changing a lot in Tulsa from sunshine and and hot conditions to rain to sunshine to rain. So it was like a bit yeah, it was a bit difficult when it comes down to that. But I think yeah, you, it's one of those races where Texas has been going on forever, and it's kind of a stable and being in all North American championships for years, and you can look at how it's been raced and how it's been won the last years. But I think with the bigger fields, with the stronger guys on the start list, some things are going to be harder to predict. At the same time, it's going to be easy for a guy like Patrick Lang to just hide in the group and then run
Yeah,
fast afterwards. And I
sure.
think that's where everything can happen.
Yeah. So when you talk about how it has been won, I believe we're talking about big group dynamics and super fast runners coming through with amazing run splits. That's how it has been done in the past, but I don't recall in recent years that we have had Kona / Nice top contenders in this race before. So it's going to be super interesting what that does to race dynamics, right?
Mm. Yeah, but then at the same time, it's also early in the season, so there's also, you know, that is kind of the interesting thing of some guys are going for the Pro Series. Some guys are there to get a slot. Some guys are there to validate.
It's only
Um,
five slots, right?
yeah,
So
but then again, you also have a lot of guys who have either automatic qualifications or just have to validate. So that's also the difficult part to read. There's like a race within the race, and some are there to like. You saw how Magnus, he completely destroyed some of the guys' dreams of doing well in the Pro Series with
yeah,
what was a 30-minute gap to number 4 or whatever
yeah,
it was. And I think some guys are looking at it and thinking, if I can be within I don't know, 10 minutes, 5 minutes of the winner, that would still be within striking distance for a good position in the end of the year in the Pro Series. And that's where you never know what people's kind of goal aim is in the race, and that can also play out on the bike, especially how some of the guys like the Marquardt guy or some of the Rudy von Berg or some of those guys, how they ride it, and that can end up being really good for opportunists, and it can be also end up destroying the race completely, like we
yeah.
saw in Kona, where basically all top 10 had to walk the last 30 or 10 kilometers. So it's like it is really difficult, and it is a full Ironman, so you have to respect. Like not be too cocky and have too much ego in different stages of the race, and obviously that it's also where the climate kicks in. So if it's really hot and really humid, that's one scenario. But it can also be. I saw the other day it was like 15 degrees, and that would be a completely other race.
For sure.
And that's the beauty of racing. There's so many factors coming into it. So like there are many guys who are able to or capable of running between 30 to 35 to 240 in the race, and I think that can create a really interesting battle, not only for the podium but also from number 4 to 10.
I'm actually not sure. Have you decided yet to fully attack the Ironman Pro Series this season?
I haven't decided anything yet because
Okay, to see how the body turns up on race day.
yeah, exactly, and also how it is afterwards. Because I know, like, it's been really good for months now, but it's a full Ironman, and it takes a lot to run a marathon at the end of a hard bike. So we'll see and make a plan after Texas if we're gonna go for the series or whatever we're gonna aim for. I understood last year, like obviously, it's nice to race a lot throughout the year and in interesting places and see the world and stuff like that. But it's also it's worse if you can't really race, and if like then you have end up having a year with only one podium, and that's not really what I'm here for. So I'd rather race a fewer times and then really be prepared. I think that was my strength in former years, and it's about getting back to that kind of DNA and core.
So, are you bringing friends from Denmark or your girlfriend to support you in Texas? What's the team like?
Yeah, we're gonna have my girlfriend and my not father-in-law, but
Brother-in-law?
um,
Tobias Hamann?
I think he wished to be there, but not this time around. Philippa
He
Stats,
will
and then
overshine
also
everybody with his personality and charisma.
yeah, exactly. I can't have that. No, so Philippa Stat, and then also Philip is gonna be there. So it's a good start to the coach athlete, and also an important way of like I think he's one of the guys I kind of, if you think of it as like you are 30K in on the bike on the run, and there's one guy you want in the side of the road to tell you, give you feedback and so on. That's him and Casper. So
yeah, for
I
sure.
think it was kind of a no-brainer to bring him, not only for this race, but also to kind of learn how we are as coach athlete in a race scenario.
Has he already getting to know how to push your buttons in the right way, you know, when you're, you know, really needs a kick in the arse?
I think I'm one of the athletes who in training sessions and stuff, it's more the other way. He have to hold me back a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he took the opportunity to really like focus on personal development and personal growth instead. So yeah, I think that's for this race and also for the future. It's a pretty interesting kind of team to be working with.
Have you ever thought about that he actually quite assembles Art Garfunkel from Simon and Garfunkel? You can try to whistle Sound of Silence and see how he reacts to that one. I'm just kidding around. For sure, he's one of the most respected coaches out there. I think it's very, very interesting, and I hope that you are going to have the result that we know that you're capable of, and more important, the issues that you had in the past, that they are behind you now. But here, before we finish this little chat, do you have any new sponsors or anything on board, or anyone that you want to give a plug?
I think, to be honest, the biggest plug I can give is my current partners. Raw Energy came in this year, but to stick with an athlete through tough times and where results are lacking, that shows character from my partners and dedication. So my current partners, that's like I owe them everything. So yeah, I think that's the biggest plug I'll give.
I love that, Daniel. Can you? I don't know which year were you actually born in? Can you recall the 90s? Sorry.
96.
96, so you can't remember David Beckham, who was sponsored by Brylcreme?
Oh, no, I can't.
No, it's just that your hair is, so I think it could be
yeah, probably that could be. I looked at it yesterday,
a future.
And I thought it was more Alpecin that could be a partner, but we'll see.
We've been doing interviews for a number of years. I've always enjoyed our chats in Danish as well as in English. It's always a pleasure, and I believe that you look as happy and content as ever, and I think it's really a good sign that we are going to see you in the best version of yourself. And best of luck, Daniel. We always love to see you fight for the top spots.
Thanks a lot, Les. It was nice to be on, and it was a good chat. Hopefully we can do some more with more results, better results this year.
If you get on the podium and if you win the race, you will have to promise to be the first guy on this podcast.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
Let's do that. Let's say that's a deal.
Cool.
So yeah, and for all you guys watching, stay tuned.